Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Mythbusting. We are not in the Mythbusting world today though. I have created a fresh new flat world for us to do a singular test in because the question we're asking in this video I found especially interesting, and the reason I found it so interesting is because I could be horribly wrong about something that I have possibly assumed for the longest time in this game. So to make the question as simple as possible, we're focusing on the mobs that are spawned by a mob cage and if they contribute to the mob cap. Now the mob cap is in regards to the mobs that you'll see spawning in the world naturally. So if it were dark right now, we would see some hostile mobs spawning, and I've always been under the assumption that mobs that spawn from a mob cage like this do not contribute to the mobs you see spawning in the world outside. I always thought that they were exclusively separate from that mob cap. So I put on my thinking cap and thought back to when I first learned this, and it would have been back in 2011 when I first started making YouTube videos, and I'm pretty sure I heard it in someone else's video where they were explaining how these things work, that the mobs that would spawn here wouldn't contribute to the mob cap. And then I also thought about, well, how come I've used these mob spawners so much and never learned this? And I realised that most of the time you're using a mob cage is with a mob farm and you stand in front of where all of the mobs are and you don't go out and explore and see the rest of the world. So you've probably never been made too aware that those mobs are taking up all of the mob cap. So the test we're going to do should be fairly simple and straightforward. I don't foresee us having any complications with this. We should see one of two things happen. Now first of all, we're going to set the time to night. Daylight cycle has been turned off, so it's permanently going to stay as night, and this means that the mob spawner is going to be active. So we're going to slowly spawn in zombies. They're going to be held in an area down the bottom, and that means that the number of them is going to steadily increase. Now around us in the world, because it's nighttime, mobs have started spawning, and one or two things can happen here. This number can continue to increase over and over and we see no change to the mob spawning outside, or the mobs spawning out here could slowly dwindle and we see less and less mobs, which would mean that the ones down there are contributing to the mob cap. Now if I stand here and do the test like this, it could be that some mobs are too close to me to actually despawn. So what I'm also going to do is bring on a second account which is going to go around and periodically kill these mobs out here. And if it turns out that I'm wrong, what we should see happen is no more mobs spawning out here on the sandstone. There is a hideous noise coming from down below us. That's because we have around 130 zombies hanging out in that area. And yes, it took me a while to realise I needed to turn the max entity cramming game rule off. But once I did that, the numbers started to build up. And much to my amazement out here in the world, the hostile mobs stopped spawning because they do indeed contribute to this mob cap. So if you did or did not know the answer to this question, now you do. And if like me you thought it was the other way around, well, good news for us, we have been corrected, and yes, you could probably use this for a hostile mob switch, which means you can stop hostile mobs spawning in your world if you have a second account hanging around next to one of these farms, right? And I believe that is an idea that came from my buddy Nembomb, because I was discussing this with Impulse, who prompted me to ask this question with a myth-busting episode. So it's nighttime again, and there are no hostile mobs spawning in the world around us, but I killed all of the mobs that came from that mob spawner, and I replaced them with ones that I spawned myself using a mob egg, because it made me wonder the question, is this the same with these ones as well? Do they also contribute to the mob cap? And the answer is yes. Yes, they do. And so my curiosity has been satisfied, and I do hope that you enjoyed this shorter episode of Mythbusting, just revolving around a question that didn't take long to answer, but it was certainly worth doing in my opinion. So if you enjoyed it, leave a like on the video, let me know that you did. As always, thank you for your support, and be sure to check out the Mythbusting playlist if you want to learn more about the Minecraft game. But that is it from me this video, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.